Alright, here we go. I think we're all set. BGM can go a little higher. Yeah, that's fair. There we go. Maybe slightly lower. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So that's kind of just there. Is this a map, Loki? Yes, I am. This is just what we call a three-dimensional map. How you doing? Howdy, Xavier. Good to see you too. Fingerweaver's hovel. So for the most part, the Horns are concentrated around here, right? No, actually no, they're also a bit over here. So that's not fair to say. I'm doing pretty good, kinda, I hope. That's not spoken with any degree of confidence. But I guess we take that. Yeah, I've talked about this before with the ravine and the broken trees, right? This is not normal. This is caused by the breaking of that up there. Oh, I should. Yeah, okay, it's working. Good. Every map obelisk has their motifs on them. Yeah, but that just tells us that they were like, oh, since we're going to a new map, let's use a new design that's more centered around Hornset, right? Like, I'm not going to take that as the Ironclad, definitely 100%, you know, they settled here, right? Any particular reason they're in this corner of the map, or is it just coincidence, you know? Because I can believe a bunch of, you know, scorpions end up migrating or moving, like, whatever, right? Like, with the rot stuff we see. I'm just kind of curious if there's any specific reasons to this corner. I guess you could always make an argument that it's because it's close to the rot. How's Bloodborne on PC? I could not get it to work. I'm gonna wait till the till I have my updated PC and all that stuff, you know? Once I get the new PC, I'm going to start doing those kinds of things, because it requires a lot of programs and stuff. Some of them I've tried before, and I had issues with 32-bit, so it's like, it's a headache. I don't even know if I can emulate it well, with my 32-bit system. Oh, what's that? Okay. Crisis averted. I was like, I thought something serious might have been happening back there. No, it's nothing bad. Nothing crazy here. Are these normal trees, or are these the same? These are the same trees we find in the afflicted portions, right? Am I crazy? Let's see if there's any big difference if I do this. Kind of? The rot seems a lot less violent here than in Caelid. You could argue because it's being directed by Romina, right? So you could argue, ironically, it's a more orderly kind of rot, you know? As opposed to, like, Melania's, which is, you know, wild and chaotic, the way it's acting. Because of, you know, she kind of just exploded everywhere. After, resisting and holding back the rot for a very long time, right? So it has a bit of that Bloodborne beast thing, where it's like, you know, the more you resist the beast, the bigger the backlash is gonna be when you inevitably give in. Which is, of course, what we see. Honestly, one thing I'm gonna like about getting the new system is hopefully fixing this stupid, like, I don't even know how you do that. Like, where's the black shell? Like, why is it doing that? She exploded rot. Let that sink in. Ain't no sink in there. Of course. Of course, asshole. Fucking asshole. The buds do carry over, though, which I think is fair, right? If they want to pick something for continuity, right? They could have done worse. Is that the only grave on this part of the ravine? Yeah, I think it is. Let me go back here. Maybe I missed it. No, we have spirit graves. We do have spirit graves here. Honestly, feels like we should have spirit graves in the middle of this river too, but you know what? I'll assume this was like, you know, kind of a pseudo road. Or who knows? Maybe we're gonna learn that the lore, that water erodes spiritual power or some shit, you know? Which is why you have the mariners that have to wade through it in a boat or something, you know? Something crazy like that. I'm not sure what's the pattern with the fungi appearing on the neck of the pests. Oh, do they have a special fungi that the normal ones don't? Also, yeah, I'm not seeing any graves besides spirit graves. You know, now I have to want... No, this guy could have come from the town, because we have some stuff with... I think there's one of them in the town, too, right? Yeah. I was about to say, like, did this guy fall from up there, too? No. I don't see any fungi here. The spirits can float alongside the water. They just flown down river. Spiritual water, nice. I know the ones supposed to have cordyceps on the back of their necks. Oh. Not really seeing that on these. But again, they're like invader ones, so... Coolio. Let's go back to town for a second. So we got the normal graveyard here. But we also have a graveyard over here. Actually, we also... Oh! We have some spirit graves here in the back, too. But it's kind of leading up to the back graveyard. So yeah, that's fair. Freaking lighting! See, some of the trees obviously burned. Though, strangely, the foliage is mostly grown back. I guess you could also make the argument that it isn't thoroughly burned, like when a dragon burns through it, you know? I guess you could make that case, too. Also, maybe the water. Actually, now that I think about it, the flooding water might contribute. I have to go back in other places where we have these burned trees and check to see how they handle it in other places. Oh, fun fact, Loki, the skill the Poison Flower Blooms tries found here mimics the Stinger attack Romina has, and they both clear poison and rot in exchange for extra damage. That makes sense to me. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so the Spheric Graves extend all the way here. Okay, in that case, you know what? I can accept it. I can accept this, then. So if the idea is we're supposed to talk, like, the actual extent of the graveyard is basically everything around the town on this side of the river, I can live with that. Oh god, Chad, imagine if I get the great idea to start doing top-down maps for the analyses. I don't know, chat. I think I'd be cooked. Oh boy. I will say, I think it is a cool, like, aerial shot you can take. Like, look at all of this. Oh. So some of it's burned, some of it's not. I guess the idea is that it's only partially burned, maybe? Right? Like, it wasn't, like, so thorough that it burned all the bushes, though. I'll be honest, if the bush next to you is burning, shouldn't the other bush also catch fire, you know? I don't know, like, isn't that how forest fires happen? Like, I somehow, I feel skeptical that's only, like, one, you know... It's like, you know, half the bushes in a giant bush pile are randomly getting burned in the flames, you know? You're already gone. Oh, you can also take a picture of the Black Knight in front of her lawn for using the Americans. Yes, yes! Thank you for reminding me, Xavier. That's a good idea. Like I said, I want to check a few things first, so let's do this first. Let's look at some of this burnt/dead trees we've seen before. Yeah, these are totally fine. So yeah, water they can totally survive in. So the trees maybe not, but the bushes can. Totally. And you got those blood roses in here. Which I'm gonna assume are just reacting to all the blood flowing down with the water, right? Because we talked about how, like, you know, everyone dies or whatever, right? The water overflows from the river into the town, then it overflows down here, and all the blood gets carried along with it down to the bottom. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me. And then... pretty sure there's a dragon or something here that has something similar going on. Look at that frame drop in Liurnia. You got these octopus here. Which makes sense to me, because again, we know that they like eating people and stuff, right? And they have blood in their things, so... I'm at the very least going to be open to this idea that wherever we see octopuses, there's at least the potential, at least where we see them congregate in areas they otherwise aren't, like, quote-unquote normally at. That there may be something here, like, oh, there were, like, a bunch of corpses or people that were burned down or eaten here, you know, by the dragon, and then the other corpses get lapped up by these octopuses. I'm at least going to be open to that possibility. I'm not seeing a lot of... oh, wait. Okay, yeah, we have some bushes here. Okay. Forest disappeared here. So you have lots of normal trees, and then this. Yep, okay. Normal bushes. Okay. Okay. And this one I know is all burned. Is there any other areas where this would be good to look at? Yeah, they need human blood to reproduce. Yeah, so there would have to be the assumption that if we're seeing a whole great bunch of them congregating in a specific area, we should at least be mindful of the idea of, okay, there has to be either a blood or a water flow or something that's prompting it. Like this guy, we usually don't see these guys outside of water areas, so why are we seeing so many of them in this specific spot? Right. So, like, sometimes Miyazaki in From Software will use they'll just use, like, you know, like, oh, here's, like, a billion corpses that aren't feasibly possible to actually be, you know, all from, like, I don't know, the Eternal City or whatever, right? But they will just use that as a way to kind of signal. You know, the contrast of the red and the blue is very pretty, you know? Anyway, they'll use that as a kind of signal for, you know, how, like, you know, there's a great amount of death that happened there. But then they'll sometimes do subtle things like this with the octopi and other stuff. Or octopuses, however you're supposed to say it. There's some land octopi that congregate over a unique invisible crimson scarab in Tombs Ward. Tombs Ward. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, here we go. Oh no, just not the catacombs. You mean just in general. I think I know which one you're talking about. It's the pond by the minor Erdtree. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Like, that I don't think is that weird, right? Because it's like, you know, there's a source of water and pond. It's a quote-unquote land octopus because it, you know, comes on land. But, like, you'd expect them to be, you know, adapted for water primarily. So when I see them in, like, these ponds and crap, I don't think that's weird, right? And then being like, what's this? About the invisible scarab? I don't think that's that crazy, you know? Like, I'm okay with this. We also see, like, I think we also see some in, like, Limgrave. Like, I want to say, like, here and here. Obviously, we also see them in here. This I wouldn't find weird. With Lyrini, it's weird because, again, the lake is a relatively new phenomenon, and we generally don't see land octopuses down here. I also think, if I recall correctly, they appear in a unique spot around here somewhere. Yeah, right. So I see something like this, where you have the waterfall. The waterfall to here, which comes from the waterfall to up here. And I talk about the whole, oh, blood and stuff. So I think sometimes it'll be blood roses, sometimes it'll be land octopi, right? But I think the general idea is always kind of showing, you know, human blood and stuff that is flowing downriver, and the octopuses are trying to gather it up, you know? There's also the ones that are eating Mikla's blood where you get the golden shard. Yeah, that's exactly my point, right? Like, that is an area where there's no water in the vicinity, right? Like, normally, there shouldn't be any land octopuses there. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not on a beach, right? Beaches make sense, right? That's where I'm like, okay, that's the environmental storytelling talking. Right, because that one goes into death. So I think this is the only one yeah, this is the only waterfall that leads back to what we saw here. And we saw how some stuff was stopping when they put the, what's-his-face, the boss there, and then you got the corpse with the America eye. That leads up to the guard, yeah, right? Like, it's very clear that the developers are trying to tell a very subtle story about, like, hey, what's flowing up? And obviously we know when we go through the Ainsel River portion, they use the corpses and the coffins, right? Like, they're not being subtle there. They're outright using just lines and lines of corpses and coffins. Which, again, fair enough. Oh, if you remember the serpent snail conversation, we should also factor in skeleton snails. That's true. We should probably factor that in if that's the case. I want to map out where all the snails and stuff are. Because I know we have some in Noxtella. I think they're only in Noxtella underground, though, right? I don't remember there being any here or here. Obviously, we have crystal ones here. I don't recall any in Limgrave or Weaving Peninsula. Or Caelid? I'm trying to... maybe in that cave? Maybe in the abandoned cave? Altus, obviously Gelmir, right? Altus, there's the Spirit Caller snail, but I think that's it. Oh, I am struggling here. I can't remember if there's any in mountaintops besides the Spirit Caller. I want to say no, but I could be misremembering. Anyway, let's go to our friend. Yeah, shrink it down. Get around the center here. About right, I'm pretty sure. I think the way I had it, I could have maybe gone to enlarge it and lower it a bit more. Again, it's an approximation, but I was actually very impressed how much it was actually pretty much the center. Like, I feel like I'd only want to adjust it to account for this here, because I'm pretty sure this is a sheer cliff, much like with, in the mountains and around Langdell. Are they around Langdell? I'm trying to remember. I don't, though. I don't recall them. Hey, buddy. Yep, that's a sheer cliff. Yeah, so if I would want to readjust the map I did, right, with accounting for the Realm of Shadow and stuff, I probably want to make it so that way I could try to guarantee the center would be at the very least... again, I was pretty impressed with how it is, but I'd want to kind of maybe make it where if you exclude, like, all this sheer extra height to get, like, center, right? Because this one I'm pretty sure doesn't have any... This one I'm pretty sure is just accurate from a top-down view. But this, I think, heightens it a bit. So I think you could get away with me having it where either we grow it or we just lower it, period, a little bit. The whole graves. Oh, yeah, but those are the skeleton ones. I was talking about the living ones, Xavier. Sorry. Yeah, I know the Skelly boys are here. And over here in the mountaintops, right? That I understand. I'm also curious if they, again, if the big curiosity with the Skelly ones especially would be if the large skulls are artistic or if they're actually indications of a giant's presence. Because that would definitely make things interesting, right? I definitely think that could work. Anyway, gonna move over here now. Nicholas Cross. Yeah, nothing I want to check right now, so let's just go straight to Rolana's room. Alright, so this guy, it's just if you do a little bit of damage, he'll take the blessing, right? So I think we should fight him at normal speed. Where the hell is he? Oh no, is he just dead? No, it can't be, because they wouldn't put a knight here, right? So I'm not crazy. Pretty sure he has to be downstairs then. He respawns Loki. Okay, good. In Lane Dell, would that be from Godric's Trolls? It shouldn't, should be just like the Haley Tree Knights. They respawn, gotcha. But, it could be. I'm also open, though, to the possibility of this guy then, right? Yeah, he guards the entrance. Okay, yeah, this guy then. Ah, interesting how this stuff is already destroyed. Huh. I can't tell if that's just, like, weirdness, like the way they make him spawn, cause him to automatically break, like, this stuff here, but I feel like it's far enough away. Alright, so... I think the Godric Troll thing is a good option, Xavier, but because it's a graveyard area specifically... I'd also be willing to just say that some of the fire giants were working with the Sun Capital folk. Especially because I see a lot of people are making connections between the Sun Capital, and, well, just generally the Sun and the Flame God, you know, the Fell God. So I feel like if that's true, I think that could be very, that could be a very telling connection. On, like, we already see the farm colonists have some interactions with the giants at Wyndham, right? And obviously there's some connection there when you consider, like, the flame slugs and, the mountaintops, right? Though, again, you could make the argument that came later. That's part of the Gelmir relationship, maybe, right? But I think in general there's a very obvious tie where, okay, if the farm colonists are friends with the Sun Capital, then the giants probably are too. I think that would be a fair assessment. Alright, let's see. Alright, let's see how this goes. I really like that shot. This is the Radigan type attack, if I recall. Oh, wait, whoopsie. I accidentally minimized you, chat! There you go. I'm a bit curious if the Outer Gods are remnants of past ages after the New Order removes stuff and changes the Elden Ring. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea to think about. Yeah, Goldbreaker. Woo! Ooh, fighting that right angle, you know? Yeah, that looks good. That, I think, gives the right amount of contrast. You got the nice blue sky to contrast with the gold. You got no shadows on the the background with the castle, so you can clearly see the knight. And there's a little bit of lighting on the knight, though it's on the far side of his face, right? So it's not like perfect or by any means, but I like it. Let's also. And the best part is if I don't like anything about this, I can always crop it. There we go. The color scheme of these guys makes you think they're like America Knights. I guess that would be a nice contrast from the soldiers who are like Godfrey, you know, very coded, right? I don't think so, though. Curious how they go with the white/gray hair. You gotta wonder if there was something more to that, you know? But, nah, that's not helpful. Yeah, I'm liking that. There's like Malekith. Ah, you know what? That's right. The black and gold armor with the... Yeah, this is Malekith coded. Yeah. You know what? You're right, Xavier. This is definitely more Malekith coded. Now, this makes me wonder, is that because it's a remnant of, like, concept design, where, like, they initially imagined these guys as being actual Malekith Knights, but then they made them Mesmer folk? Or is this actually still significant for the final game's lore? Oh. There we go. Oh. Okay, no. Yeah, I'm just gonna get him while he's, you know, before we, you know, activate his combat stuff. Hey, Saint Meme! Yeah, I think they look very similar to Malekith, so I thought maybe they were part of the same squad at some point. Good to see ya, good to see ya. I could see that. The thing is, there's mention about the knights, you know, leaving their families and stuff, so it definitely sounds more like they were cobbled together. So now you guys have really got me thinking, like, is this just a, is this, you know, this is a remnant of old concept design, or is this still very relevant? Because again, the soldiers are very Godfrey coded, but this we have a lot of Radigan / Malekith coded stuff with, these knights. So it's just the general idea supposed to be they are, like, you know, the side, you know, trying to reflect how they're the secret / shadow side of America, right? Because these guys have a hammer and they're launching crystals and stuff, so, like, something's going on there. Yeah, I think this looks good. They have Goldbreaker and the Elden Ring on the hammer and shield. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the fact that they've got this Radigan... Oh, yeah, there's also the little Elden Ring here. That's cool. The fact that they have that, combined with the Malekith look, I don't know, it's got me thinking. It could be something as simple as Mesmer... Yeah. I think it could be something as simple as Mesmer is serving a similar purpose as Radigan or Malekith, being America's quote-unquote, you know, dogs. And therefore... Oh. I'm not sure if that's going to work with this shit. With the lowered frame rate. Okay, wait a second. Doing this with the lowered frame rate is a bit painful. So let's at least take off high LODs for the time being. There's no reason to suffer through that. A little better. Oh, whoops. Whoopsie. I wasn't supposed to do that. Whoopsie. Also, I'm sending you a picture of the destroyed Iron Virgins in Mount Gelmir with the corpse texture we were talking about. Oh, nice. Thank you, Xavier. Alright. Let's go back here. Because I want to see them take the divine, the America's blessing, so... I didn't know I could do that. I'll be honest, I didn't think I could change the HUD when I paused the game like that. Dude, you're not even gonna take off the cap? Like, what are you? A barbarian? There we go. Yes, it's very important we make those very small textures not look as shitty. Oh, that's not in-game. I know, the Hailing Tree Knights don't even have a hinge. Alright, let's see. What a shocker. This small thing makes it hard for me to... Where the hell did you come from, buddy? Of course I kill you. Couldn't put up your shield for that one, huh, buddy? But now I know. I will say they have the shadow tree motif on their face. The soldiers or the knights? I assume you're talking about the knights. There we go. Alright, I want to see you drink through your helmet again, buddy. There we go. Of course. Oh! Ah, damn, too. I mean, I guess. Going through his eye hole. Here's the question, does he do it more than once? I have to imagine it's not on a limit. Soldiers too. I know about the soldiers, I just don't know if you were talking about the knights or not, but if you mean the knights, you know what? Where's that shadow tree motif? Do you mean this stuff, Xavier? That looks like general plant stuff. Oh, is it on this? This little chest plate thing? Ow! Elden Ring introduced guard counters. All they do with it is a talisman in the base game, a hammer, and physic tier of the DLC. Yeah! It's probably the most disappointing mechanics for me, personally. Like, it's a mechanic I would have really loved to, like, help mix up the combat. Like, parries, right? But it just doesn't pan out. I feel like they only have one. Ah, if they only have one, then that means we have one shot every time. Okay. I think you'll need good lighting. I will. The problem for me was that the animation happened too quickly, because I want to get in when, like, you know, when the effects are, like, you know, at their maximum. Right, so... let's see. God, again, the new PC. The new PC is going to be so nice. I gotta start looking into when those graphics cards are coming out and get ready to just dump that giant tax write-off. God, it's gonna be so much money, but it'll be a worthwhile investment. It's about time I bring myself into the 21st century. Hard to see because the face is so angry. I don't think that's the big problem with this guy. Like I said, it's just the effect. The effect I want to get... oh. Ow! Asshole! Can I make this work? This annoys me, though, but it's part of the map, so I can kind of forgive it. No, this is not so bad. The straight-up shot here. I don't hate this. I'll live with this. Oh, the shadow tree motif? Yeah, this? If you're talking about this, then yes. I can maybe sort of see it here, but it looks more like generic plant motif. Oh, you know, I can kind of see it. Yeah, I can kind of see it, Xavier. Yeah. Okay, then I'm willing to assume the Malekith and Radigan stuff is definitely more symbolic, for sure. If it's this hard-coded into the design, I'm willing to believe that. Oh, I might even like this one better. Yeah. Yeah. We got both of them in there. Gotta watch a Sunny D commercial for research. Yes, it's very important. I love telling my tax guy, yeah, all this anime I'm buying, all this manga, it's for research. It's very important that these few $1,000s of anime Blu-rays I'm getting. They're very important for my next work. 3, technically. Where's the third one? Is it on the shield? The back, maybe? Oh, yeah, you're right. I see 3. There's one on the back, too. Look at his chest plate, not the little shield. See, this looks more like a floral motif for me. This one I'm not so sure about. Right? Like, this one I get, right? Like, you have the 3 tiers. 1, 2, 3 of branches. Same here. 1, 2, 3. This looks like random, you know, it looks like this stuff, right? Like, it's just there to fill up space on the design. So it looks fancy. On the back, though, I definitely see it. Or at least something approaching it. I don't know, it's a little hard to tell because it looks like it looks like it should be 3, but, like, the top kind of blends in with the bottom. I don't know. Look at the soldier's helm? Sure. Yeah, this I've known about. This one's very obviously like, yeah, we got the tree thing. I can kind of see what they're going for like a more abstract version on the knight, though, because you can kind of see the same idea with, like, bottom, middle, and top branches, but there's a lot more other stuff in between, right? I can kind of sort of see it. Yeah, more fancy, like, just random, you know, floral imagery on the back. But you got this here. Oh. That's not what I wanted. There we go. The soldier's helm looks like a Roman Gaelic helm. Yeah, Rome was the first thing I thought when I saw it, too, in the cinematic trailer. It's pretty cool, honestly, because it's a little bit of a different design from what we normally see. Which is something I'll also give DS2, right? Like, they gave it more of, like, that Spanish Renaissance look to a lot of enemy armors and stuff like that. you know, used actual Gamberson for the equipment of the infantry and stuff in that game. So like stuff like that's kind of cool. Yeah. Sorry, mate. Too much shadow. Big Rohan vibes. Alrighty. Hello, sir. Just want to make sure you're giving us our best. Yeah, that seems fair to me. I guess we'll do that. How do you guys down here look? Not the worst. The problem is that shiny reflection makes it a little hard to see some of it. I think this will be fine, though. Also, we're taking a picture of the motif on Rolana's dueling shield. Yeah, maybe... I don't know if I think I picked that weapon up, but... I think I'll have to look at that in the graphic or in a demonstration first before I do that personally. Oh, right, I forgot we don't have AI turned off yet. Whoopsie. Sorry, Discount Godfrey. You should absolutely have it. I'm sure I do. It's just, you know, I'm not going to go search for it. I'm going to go put it on right now. Got some of that gold and smithing stone 5. Gee, I wonder where they got all that from. That's another thing I could have mentioned in my Twitter post. Xavier could have been like, we even have gold and smithing stone. But I actually don't remember where gold and smithing stone is found in the DLC, so I could be misremembering, and there's actually a lot of areas that have it outside of just being like mesmerotic from all this. Alright. Always stealth, back on. Higher LODs, off. Alright. Morth, Nicholas Cross. Upstream, we have the ruins of Unte here. I'm trying to think of a justification. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a justification for having a town down here and the water and stuff. Because again, all this water, this is not from the normal, you know, this is not our normal scheduled program here, right? I'm actually curious if this water is natural too, considering, you know, the the whole finger ruins and how Metter is in the watery area. Like, I'm kind of curious if that's connected to this somehow, or if this is just, you know, it just happens that there's this natural, you know, sinkhole pond thing that's been forming, right? You know, maybe this was smaller. It wasn't, you know, flooding everything. So it's something like, oh, we just had a river, you know, that was normal down here. I forget how this looked to see how natural it was. This I remember being completely unnatural. They did it so Rolana's pet lobster could be fine. Speaking of, do we see the prawn people, prawn enemies anywhere else in the DLC, or is it just here? Natural, vaguely fingerprint-shaped pond. Yep. It just happens to look like a fingerprint. It's all coincidence, I promise. Yes, yes. I think it's just there? Yeah, that would make sense to me. I also don't remember if blood roses are in this area or not, honestly. I will say there is something very... There is something very beautiful about this shot. There's trees from Liurnia. You mean this church here? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Though it's kind of funny to think that they all came in here, they must have come here with the seeds, and then Ymir was like, you know what? You know those seeds we got from Liurnia Lake or whatever? Actually, it wouldn't be a lake at this time. It should still be a river, right? Let's just take those and plant them here. Blood roses can't be found in the DLC. You can find harvestable nascent butterflies in the DLC, though. Of course you can. Of course you can. Those goddamn butterflies are everywhere. They haunt me. They haunt me, chat. I try to escape them, and they just haunt me. Yeah, it's amazing the difference in an area like this with these. There's also the green grass at the kid's grave. Kid's grave? Are we talking about in the mountaintops? Or... Alright. Nothing notable about the geography in this immediate area otherwise, right? Of course we find one of you! Of course! Jeez, I wonder why this is here. Actually, do we find more of these in the DLC? I want to say no. There's that cave of wolves beneath on the cliffside. Is there a separate cave of just wolves there? I'm gonna have to... That might explain the wolves then on this top here. Especially if there's any wolves that jump down on this corner. I don't know what it is about this area. This area has some really photogenic angles. Like, this is impressing me. Like, maybe it's the yellow sky, but like, this area is looking good. Oh, geez, I wonder what it's trying to look at, you know? It's a big mystery what this is trying to point at, you know? Also, can you stop flickering? Me trying to take shots. I remember there being wolves on a ledge somewhere. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I think my game crashed. we're back. We're back. I don't know what that was all about, but we're back. Wait, wait. Whoa. Wait a second. Wait a second. I just realized. Okay, thank God. I was like, hello? You're telling me the whole ocean is just spilling into the abyss? Thank God that was the case. That would have been just silly. The graveyard here is where Finger Mama's kids have been. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I completely forgot that this, these are children. This is the graveyard of children. And maybe actual people, who knows. Depends on how Ymir was feeling that day. If he was feeling particularly cuckoo, that he's just, killing everyone else that was at this church. Also, he got the night people from a jail, right? So I guess it was probably Bonnie jail. Yeah, it's the only jail in the vicinity, right? Because we have Rivermouth Cave here. Shadowview Cross, Darklight Catacombs, the Mausoleum. Oh, I do not see where's this wolf cave? I do not see this wolf cave here. Unless it's not an actual separate area. But, like, oh my, I do not have a wolf cave area here on my bingo card. I assume the name engraved here is his actual human child. Oh, you think it's not the Yuri, beloved child, taken before his time? I'll be honest, I think it's just the fingers. Because don't the fingers he pets then disappear after he goes to this grave? Right? Like, isn't it like you meet Yuri, quote-unquote, as the finger, being like, don't step on him? Then later, he's, like, going here, he's all sad, and then you find, the fingers are gone. Oh, am I misremembering how that plays out? On the southwest side of the cliffs, just a small, cave with some wolves on the... Okay. I'll go check over on that side then later. Because I do not remember how that area looks well enough. Ah! I don't remember how well this area looks well enough either. I forgot that that thing is just a sheer drop. Well, at least you know it's a Loki stream. I assume it's named after his actual child because the grave with Leonir grass and flowers is here before the finger dies. Ah, that's a good point. Let me go back there. Yeah, that's true. Now, it could just be that they couldn't be bothered to actually erect a grave, right? A separate grave model for specifically this instance. Or that they're using someone else's existing grave, but yeah. Does it say Yuri, when you first get here, and he, before you meet the finger named Yuri? So he has trauma with the dead kids, the reason why he wants to be a mom. Like, can you actually read this grave, when you first get here? Before you've ever talked to him or met his quote-unquote child, Yuri, with the fingers? Yes? Okay, then you know what? You're probably right, Xavier. Okay. I was thinking that interaction was specifically added after the fingers get done. But if it's always there, period, then yeah, that makes sense. So he's a bad dad, so he decides he's going to become a mom. Okay, sure, man. Why are you bringing your kid to a battlefield? Like, what? I hope this kid was fully grown. I hope he wasn't bringing, like, his little 6-year-old boy. Because that would have been extra silly. Alright, let's go southwest, so we'll start here. Hey, Nana Face, how you doing, girl? Plotting chaos against the world? Yep, sounds about right. Ah! Yep, I don't remember how this area works. It's back up there on that chunk of terrain. Oh, did you mean the other side, Archite? Yes, okay, I'm gonna go on the other... Because I remember there being wolves on the cliffside, I just don't remember there being a cave there. But if there's an actual cave there, I'd want to see it. Alright, southeast then. Let's go down this way. Yeah, I know. Times 5 speed and me are not designed to mix when it comes to platforming, okay? Like, I can barely platform in this game as is. Wolves! What else to really say here? I always thought that was a cave. But the way that... Oh! There's a pot! I didn't break there. The cave is where you kill the Scarab to get the Rolana Karian weapon skill. I do not remember where I got that. So you guys mean from Bonnie Village? So we can work from there. Southwest, just follow the cliffside? Okay, gotcha. You picked it up and said, wow, that's lame? Yeah, that sounds like me. Alright, you know, we're gonna go from where we were at, and like you said, just follow the cliffside. That'll be easier then for me. Because I see all the wolves here, so I'll just keep on hugging the wall until we hit a actual cave, quote unquote. Shadows. Oh. Yeah, this is his. Okay, we'll go this way then. Wrong direction. Jagged Peaks over there. Alright, we got this little overpass area we passed through, right? Oh. Hey, buddies. Oh my god. I've been stopped! I've been halted! There we go. Yeah, nothing special here except the wolves just hanging out. Did I miss it? Cliffside west of the church. Oh, then I'm completely lost on where I'm going then. So was I right when I was over here? At this Grace? And I just follow it? Or was I supposed to stick here and keep following along this way? No, no, no. Ah! Let's see. Only other thing I can think of is what you mean is I'm supposed to take it from up here and, like, stick to the west side along here. This is why I hate trying to give Loki directions. Well, clearly I'm not good at taking them. Because I don't understand what you guys are saying. Yes? Okay, then that's what we're gonna do. So we go to Finger Birthing Grounds and we just stay on the west side here, and I'm gonna find a cave, you're saying. Oh, whoops. That's not what I meant. We'll do it here then. See, when I think caves, I don't think atop a cliff. I think bottom of cliff. So when you're telling me to go around the cliff with the church, I'm thinking, okay, I gotta do it from the bottom. No, it's west of church, so it's gotta be that. Well, that's a you problem, Loki, clearly. Oh, I think I see. Ah, I see what you mean. Down here. Uh-huh. Okay. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I've ever... I'm not sure if I've been here that often. I definitely don't remember it. You got the cliffside, you got the wolves. This entire area is just surrounded by wolves, huh? And yeah, you got the little tiny... Huh. Well, good to know at least. But yeah, I can see why I would come here and say lame. So yeah, we got wolves here, wolves on the east side, wolves... More of these shadow sunflowers. Can't wait to explain how the wolves go out of the sky. Or God, if I actually come up with a legit lore explanation for that, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm just gonna be like, okay, you're too lost in the sauce, Loki. Just put it down, right? Put yourself down right now. There's no helping you. Yeah, I got nothing here. This is supposed to be some overflow, probably, right? It's a little... Maybe? Maybe. You could make... It depends on what filled the, this area first. Like, did it come from the sky or something? Because if so, then yeah, I can see it. Because it comes out of, like, here. Huh. They're wind wolves, easy. They're divine beasts. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with that. Just the power of divine beasts, yo. Alright, we got Unta, Quinta, Winta, whatever they call it. They're called ruins. One of these days, I'll do a deep dive on that light and shadow swords and crap like that, you know? One of these days. I'm surprised the game will load the flowers from here. Huh. Yeah, no. We got the giant pillar here. We got our favorite fort over here. We got Ensis there. With the natural water flowing up here. I want to check over here by the bear area. Yeah, I want to check this area again. So how's it been with lore discoveries overall? I've been very happy with the stuff I've been adding to my DS2 articles this past few months. I think the content I've been adding at the level of depth I'm at, I think has been a huge, leap toward having a comprehensive understanding of Dark Souls 2 lore. I'm not saying that's an achievement. It's not something I would like to, you know, brag about or anything, but it's something. I haven't been following all this because I grew tired of Elden Ring some time ago, sadly. When it comes to Elden Ring specifically, I have not been thinking too hard about it either for the past few months. I've been focusing on, like I said, Dark Souls 2, a bit of Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne as well. So, like, that's been mainly where my focus has been at. But I have had some thoughts in the background. I recently did a post talking about how I don't think the, the genocide of the Hornset has anything to do with revenge on Marika's part. I think if it is a revenge plot, it's the dumbest revenge plot I've ever heard, that's for sure. Oh. I guess we're just supposed to be like, yeah, you know, people died here, I guess. I guess you could say it's the graveyard. Yeah, because we don't see a graveyard here, right? Yeah, I'd be willing to be like, okay, yeah, that's the graveyard to this town, you know? We also have this stuff up here, but I don't know with how far it is. If that really counts. Like, honestly, besides the birds, it doesn't really have much going for it, you know? Gotta go jump in here. After he gets done with DS2, he'll get to its sequel, Elden Ring. Yeah, exactly. I still don't get all this simple revenge plot / Marika's just a victim and all that stuff. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, like I explained in my Twitter post, I'm not using the new name. I think people jumped to revenge as the explanation because they saw, like, you know, the superficial stuff with, like, oh, you know, her, you know, she's connected to this village, which seemed to be connected to, you know, the saints who have been, like, you know, tortured and all that stuff, and never thought to consider the idea that what if Marika's in league with the people torturing her people? Like, you know, have we ever considered that? Especially considering, like, all the stuff related to it and the stuff with the timeline and all that. Like, it's just one of those things where the moment you think about it, I feel like it just kind of buckles under its own weight. So it doesn't make much sense to me. If you mention dark and light stuff, don't forget to mention magic happening inside the Divine Towers. Yeah, there's also the stuff that goes on there, and the fingers all being there now, or maybe they were always there, who knows? Like, I have thoughts. Those gravestones predate Hornsent culture I've seen? You mean the ones with the golem birds? You think they're all from before the Hornsent's time? Okay, yeah, we're way up now. Okay. No, Loki, that's preposterous. That sort of evil's only committed by Ship Fury. I think it can be said about DLC as a whole. What I will say about the DLC, and I guess you could say about Souls lore as a whole, is that I do think that even though I think the localization has been better than ever in these games, I think a lot of, I think there's a lack of in-depth examination of everything, right? And again, I'm not expecting, like, a whole lot from just casual fans and things like that. But I would love to see more deep dive integration of some of the base game stuff into what the DLC's showing, right? Like, I don't, again, I'm not someone who's following it too closely, but I haven't seen anyone talk about how you have Banished Knight, like, weapons here, right? Over here. And then you got, you know, the whole Banished Knight equipment and stuff back here with Gaius. Like, I feel like that would be kind of important to be like, why is that here? Or, again, the quote-unquote, you know, golden skeletons that are buried. Where is it? It's like right here or something, right? Like wherever they're buried. They're somewhere, you know, somewhere in this area. You know, we passed it earlier. So like, there's a lot of stuff like that that I haven't seen a lot of people like talk about, even though I feel like it's important in terms of contextualizing the timeline, especially when you see stuff like Misbegotten and things like that. Because I feel like that's the kind of thing where if you start, like, integrating things into the whole... Ooh, I like this. You have a giant patch of spirit graves here that we don't otherwise see. We don't really have a town that's connected to either. Huh. I said a dark thought unless the town was taken. Unless the Shadow Keep was where the town was, you know. Marika wouldn't do that because she's kindness personified. Thankfully, I have not seen anyone try to claim that. I feel like the community is too big on the Marika is secretly behind the plot that made her go crazy to destroy the Elden Ring in the first place. You know, like, it's not, you know, forget that Roddy confesses to being behind everything. It's actually Marika who was actually behind the Night of the Black Knives, right? Like, I think that's become, like, too big a thing in the community from what I've seen. So I think anyone's actually going to be like, no, Marika is innocent of anything. Oh, more of these things in just a giant group like this, huh? Huh. That's the main reason why I dropped Elden Ring, because every time I try to think more in depth, I want to kill myself. Yeah, there's a lot in Elden Ring. It takes a lot to think and go through. And I don't think a lot of the, like, you know, these big picture theories that are trying to be super wide and expansive are going at that suitable level of depth to properly contextualize everything, right? Like, this is something I'm very curious how Smotown's Grace Given is going to turn out. Because I feel like there's just so much still to talk about and dissect in Elden Ring, at least on my end, that I can't even imagine if Smotown's going to cover any of that in this book. Like, my first instinct is, like, is it too soon for something like that? And I don't know. Again, the book could be, like, super amazing and awesome and stuff, right? Like, I'm really curious what it's going to be like. And I'm probably going to read it, chat, if I'm being honest. I love Smotown, and I would love to read some of his work in written form, you know, when he's actually had the time to, you know, like, put it all to paper, read it through, you know, have it put through an editor and think through that stuff, you know. The Massive Blue Spirit Graves is where you get spirit larvae to use with Renala, like the larva tears. Yeah, but the question is, though, why those, like, because again, the Spirit Graves implies actual gravestones were put down, right? With dead people who, I guess, become spirits who extend to their graves, maybe? I don't know. Not sure exactly how that works. But that would imply that people were buried there. And my question would be, who? Who's buried in the middle of nowhere with no settlement in sight, right? Like, Gravesite Plains, I can kind of understand because it's so extensive and there's so many graves and things that you could just think of as, like, a general burial ground, even though, again, I don't know who the hell's doing this. Now, again, maybe it's something as simple as there was a village here, and the village has been completely destroyed by Mesmer. so we don't see it anymore, but there was like a village here, or maybe here. I could imagine that, right? But I'm just kind of curious what made the devs decide, yeah, we're just going to put a giant massa group there and get some nice items for you there. Like, why that specific area? There'll probably be a collection of his videos. Yeah, maybe, right? The thing is, even then, he has to at least give it a passive editing, because there's a lot of stuff in his earlier videos that he changes his tune on in later videos. Some stuff I agree with, some stuff I don't agree with, right? So, if he's doing that, he has to be consistent about it, right? Or at least I hope he would. Otherwise, that's gonna devalue the material, right? But again, I trust that Smowtown has done, like, you know, all the proper work and stuff like that, right? He's always struck me as a diligent guy. Which is why I'm looking forward to the book overall, because I do think it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to throw everything in for Elden Ring. I just don't know if it's too soon or not, like I said. Or is it just going to be, like, Elden Ring before the DLC? Like, is he cutting out the DLC? At which point I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, I haven't talked to him directly in a good while, so I really do want to ask him this stuff personally at some point. Because I am curious exactly how it's gonna look. Oh, yeah, nothing new we have to say here, right? Like I've done. Really? Really? Fine. Gotta put my frickin' character on a leash, chat. You nothing special to say here? I think he said he's edited around the DLC stuff. As in, like, he's not including the DLC stuff, but he's making sure that anything that would involve the DLC isn't going to be touched upon. I don't know if I approve of that. Yeah, I don't know. Because so much of the DLC stuff is integral to timeline and things. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that decision. Oh, look, more of these little grave stuff. So, okay, there's at least a little bit here. Maybe we can make an argument that's just Morth stuff. Maybe. Yeah, the shot, you damn stupid. There we go. Yeah, it's fine. Ah, stupid sheep. Get out of here, sheep! There we go. Viva la revolution! Where am I? Oh, lost track of me. Oh. I'm right there. Whoopsie. I didn't even see myself in the group shot. I assume he started working on the book long before the DLC. Yeah, that's be my assumption. But I was wondering if the idea was to edit in the DLC stuff as it came out and things like that. I think that's good. Maybe a little bit more this way. I want to adjust the lighting here. By the way, I'm sorry if you answered many times already, but what are your thoughts on Night Rain, all these alternate version bullshit DS stuff and bosses? I am cautiously optimistic, in a sense, but let's not kid ourselves. We all know that it isn't, there isn't like some big deep lore reason why Dark Souls bosses are in here, right? Like, let's just take it as a fun romp. Maybe get some good Elden Ring lore out of it, but it's always going to be a giant blot on this game that we're going to look at it and be like, oh yeah, and there's also Dark Souls bosses. And it doesn't matter what bullshit they come up with, right? Like, you know, it's the same thing as like when you're playing a Smash game or something, and you see like, you know, all these different Nintendo IPs together in one game, and maybe there's like some soft lore explanation to be like why this is all happening, and there's a story and stuff about how they're together or whatever, and all that stuff. But we all know it's ultimately just an excuse, so that way they can have all the Nintendo characters together, right? In this case, it's obviously just an excuse, so they don't have, you know, they don't have to work as hard creating new bosses, because they can't use a lot of the quote-unquote spoilery story bosses from Elden Ring. Like, they can't use Radigan. They're probably not going to use Morgoth. They're going to stick to Margit. They're not going to be able to use, you know, like, I don't know, maybe Estelle or something like that, right? Like, you know, there might be certain bosses where they're like, no, we can't use these because they're either they're not going to fit into the design we have for Night Rain, or they're just not going to be able. They're, you know, they're too critical to the story that we don't want to spoil someone's experience if they're playing Night Rain first before playing Elden Ring proper, right? They've talked about this in interviews. So when you take all that into account, my perspective on Night Rain is very much like, yeah, this will probably be fun. It'll be a good romp or whatever, but like, it's a huge brand risk to both brands, right? Like both the Elden Ring and Dark Souls brand, and it's very obvious when you listen to the interviews, and like right off the bat, you got the director going out of his way to kind of clarify, you know, it's alternate universe, you know, it's different, you know, it's completely separate continuity, all this, you know, when you're getting into those types of talk, you know, it's because like you're trying to get in front of an obvious issue you see that the fandom is going to have, right? Like you're expecting there to be a certain backlash, you know, resistant to what you're trying to do here. So I think it's very clear they're trying to get ahead of all that. And again, not saying that's wrong or anything, by the way. Just pointing out that's what's happening. Gwyn shitting himself, seeing if I can throw lightning bolts. Yeah, like, they're also not going to include any, like, story-critical bosses from Dark Souls either, right? I think Nameless King is going to probably be, like, some of the limits of that stuff, because Nameless King is technically an optional boss, and, right, like, it's not like, you know, he's an optional side content boss that's not really that important to the story, right? Like, not like, say, Twin Princes would be, right? Or, maybe a Pontiff Sullivan, or, like, Aldrich. Aldrich would be a good example. I could see a Yorm fitting into Night Rain, but they'd have to completely revamp his mechanics, so I don't know if they'll include him. Abyss Watchers would be cool, but I don't think they would include them either. In this case, I want to see Armored Core Mechas here. Yeah, you know what? That's what I say. I say that should be who the true Night Lord is. The final Night Lord boss is just, you know, your Raven. Or, I'm sorry, what do they call him in Fires of Rubicon? Just a handler or whatever? I forget. Nah, I don't like any of this. Pretty sure I have shots at this already, so. 621, yeah, 621 in, 621 was how they call the character, right? Did they use Raven? Okay, they did use Raven, good. I must be thinking of Armored Core 5 or something, because I'm pretty sure they dropped Raven for one of the games. We just got our nice little pet prawn. So my assumption is... seeing all this, that you have a bunch of slaves who obviously are rebelling. The question is, are they rebelling when they were sent out to these ruins, or is this just like them trying to take refuge, right? Because we have the dragon that's attacking stuff here. So I can imagine maybe the idea is that you have a bunch of the demi-humans, sorry, not demi-humans, misbegotten, who run off and abandon their masters to die here against this dragon. But that suggests that this is a bit of recency to these events here. Right? Like they're trying to steer clear of the dragon and use this opportunity to break free. Yeah, this is the one where we have a few of these guys already inside, right? I'm not worried about it anymore. I'll love it, I'm sure. I'm sure as a game it'll be fine, right? I'm gonna trust that the combat designer knows what he's doing when designing a game that's mostly about, like, the combat, you know? But like I said, it's always gonna be one of those things where you're like, I'm never gonna take this seriously as, like, a game. It might have some good lore, it might have some good story bits to reference, but I'm not gonna probably be able to take this thing seriously overall as just, like, you know, a concept as a game, right? It's one of those things where it's like, just turn off your brain and enjoy it for what it is. But yeah, I'm not gonna like, you know, trash talk it as a thing or whatever, right? Like, I knew we were gonna sell out and milk Elden Ring's IP from the start. Like, the moment you saw the 15 million or whatever it was sales numbers, it was like, yeah, it's gonna happen. That's just inevitable. Though I will say, I'm shocked that they're going for something so simple and short so quickly. I thought they were gonna go with the TV show or movie route first, before they went for like the little spin-off games. Anything about Bonnie Village I want to look at? No, not really. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything about this bridge and stuff that I care. I care to give a second look. Hello, God. Yeah, this'll work. I like this. I was hoping for a more serious spin-off. Yeah, I would have preferred something like that too. But, like, again, if this is what we're getting, okay, fine. But like I said, it's a huge brand risk. Because if this game is, like, clunky, or there's lots of, like, problems, and in any ways it doesn't work out, it's gonna look like just a shameless cash grab, right? Try to capitalize on both Elden Ring and Dark Souls IPs, and it's gonna make both of them look worse for existing. Which is, again, I think that's why the PR is being so careful with these initial interviews and stuff. Try to really get people, lean into people into thinking of this as like, you know, this is just a silly little fun alternate universe spin-off thing. Don't think about it too hard, you know? And it's like, if that's how they want to handle it, fine, but like, you're taking an awful risk. You know that. They're doing the Nox thing here. Wait. I think that's normal, right? Like, that's not gold. That's just supposed to be green, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm gonna assume it's supposed to be green. Or, is it? No, that's green. Praise the lever! I think it'll sell well. If it's gonna be cheaper than, like, you know, your average Dark Souls or Elden Ring, yeah, I think it could sell well. That looks good. Well, anyway. Yeah, because you have the mix of the green and yellow trees, and it, like, it's throwing me off, man. It's interesting how Rao has a very normal, natural feel to it, despite probably holding the Elden Ring. Shows you how they viewed a holiness, I suppose. Well, if we have this idea where there's the crucible powers being employed, and they take it in a plant direction, I'm not surprised. Now, the question is, where does the rot fit in, right? Is it what caused the destruction of their civilization, or was that actually part of their order, right? And this is all actually a product of the rot. The, you know, the rebirth angle of the death and rebirth, you know? That, I think, where the interesting lore questions are, you know? All my friends said they're definitely not buying it, so I don't know. All it means they'll play solo. We'll see. Maybe your friends will come around. Did they play Elden Ring and they're just not interested in this kind of spin-off? Like, they think it's too cash-grabby? I want to play it just because I want to screw over Acer aesthetics. I love Acer to death, and I would love to see how I possibly throw all our runs together. Though I don't know who our third person would be. Maybe Smo, maybe we'd call him up. Maybe Vati, I don't know. I feel like Vati probably has a few friends that he can play with. So I don't know if he'd want to play with us. Really? I don't know why suddenly my character's moving when I have the camera active. Oh, it'll have matchmaking, Xavier? Okay, good. Yeah. As long as you trust other people that are strangers, yeah, that'll work. Oh yeah, because they mentioned there's going to be a code thing, right? Yeah, so they're going to let you be able to probably join in general matchmaking and just limit to private with a code. You know, I just realized, I think this is probably some of the first time we've seen... Oh, wait, are those Rao build? Oh, no, those are probably just regular Hornsent shrines, aren't they? Yeah. No, these could be Rao buildings. Yeah, I think this is the first time we're seeing Rao buildings with actual, like, rooftops, you know? It's just me, but I'd be worse than both of y'all! Yeah, if this is the game which is just going to capitalize on, like, the community aspect for Souls, so be it, right? So much water. Also here, too. This area is also spilling a lot of water. Water! Water! Now, the thing that bothers me about this, though, guys, is that, right, like, you can very clearly see, oh, water's supposed to flow down here, and it goes in, right? And then you have this, and you're like, how the hell were these supposed to connect? Like, how in the hell were these supposed to connect? Also, the way that they're disconnected suggests there had to be some kind of terrestrial displacement of some sort, right? So. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's also a way for them to experiment, right? Like, again, there's a lot of value to what they're doing here, training new directors by giving him a small project that he can kind of, you know, work on the side while the main team works on other stuff, right? Like, there's so many different things that this is. I think this is a good idea for From Software. Like I said, I think the biggest problem is just the risks to the IPs themselves. But hey, if this goes well and they navigate it, you know, expertly, who cares? Like, no one's gonna give a shit. Yeah, nothing too distinct on the doors here. Let's go over here. Yeah, but no invite system is still questionable, especially when it's centered around co-op. Yeah, I can see that being a problem. Because it's an added convenience just be able to, like, invite someone through Steam or something like that, right? I can totally see that. But I can also see, like, Miyazaki and, you know, From Software's position here, where they're like, you guys are just going to be, like, messaging each other anyway, so you just tell each other the code and then you can type it in yourself. Of course I missed that. Whoops, I should have done the double jump. I'm so interested how this culture interacted with the Dynasty people. Yeah, that gets me interested too, because they're very clearly contemporaries and they had some sort of, you know, at least, you know, mildly friendly relationship. I'm curious how the cultures differed, why they differed. Like, are the Dynasty people from Rao who, like, broke off for some reason and became their own thing? Like, how did this all play out, right? I'm very curious on that front. I may as well get a shot of this, you know? Alright, there we go. There we go. So you got some flame thing here. Oh, there's an item up here I never got. And then they just plopped, someone decided I'm just gonna become the local land god here, don't mind me. Okay, cool. Let's get higher LODs here. Yeah. The problem is that goddamn shadow keep in the background, you know? I don't like that being, like, the distraction. I guess there's also this as an option. We'll go with that. I'll accept that for now. There we go. Cool. Yeah, these are definitely route pillars. Yeah, I agree. And then they just plopped a land god there. I wonder what that means for the rock god being sealed at a dynasty palace. Yeah, again, there's a lot of questions I have. Was the rock god the cause of Rouse civilization? Did it come from the dynasty place? Or did the dynasty place collect the rock god afterwards, right? Because, again, there's the idea that it came in the form of the scorpion, and we see all the little scorpion children and stuff around this area, right? So, were those left behind when the dynasty people came through and found the rock god, and they're like, hey, Mr. Rock God, come follow us? Like, I have lots of questions. God. Alright, so these guys we have associated with Formless Mother. So I guess my question is, which party are these? Are these Horn Scent? Are these Mesmer crew? Like, who decided to turn to Formless Mother worship here? I guess it would have to be Horn Scent because we see so many shadow people here, right? That are Horn Scent. Instead of the Mesmer, you know, research people that we see at the storehouse. Lots of cool lore potential. Glad I'm leaving it to you. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate you doing that for me. Really helps me out there. That's a nice shot. God, Elden Ring's just a pretty game, you know? It is such a pretty game. It's like going from Dark Souls 2 to Elden Ring is like, holy shit, man. From Software can make things look beautiful? Yeah, it sure it is. For sure. Church of Benediction. Scorched Ruins. We got the village here. Which, I'm assuming the village is just an introduction to how the fly, you know, to the fly disease, right? My only question would be, because we also see a Ballarat and stuff. My only question would be, why does it happen? I still don't know that. That isn't obvious to me. Why people are coming down with the sickness. We're taking plenty of shots down here. You should make a thread about Romina and clarify her remembrance, since I see a lot of confusion on it. You know what? I probably will. Thank you for telling me that, Xavier. Because I haven't thought too much about Romina, but you know what? I can give her a look over tonight, think about it a little, and see if I have any thoughts to share beyond just that, and like throw it in a short thread. Consider how big my last one was, and all the prep work. Like, that took me, like, that was at least like an hour of prep work for everything, including getting all the images and stuff. For that America one. Like, that one was just like, God, I was so tired that night too. I was like, why did I do this? This was a mistake. Help me. Help me. Oh, it was so awful. Then the next morning I'm like, okay, just post it all, copy paste, add the pictures, done. Took me like 10 minutes. I was really disappointed when Elden DLC didn't get Best Art Direction on TGA. The only nomination was deserving. I'll be honest, I think Elden Ring should have won a separate category for Best DLC. I'm just saying, it should be a separate category. At the very least, it should be, if they don't want to use DLC, they should see Best Expansion, which will just be the vague catch-all term for anything that's more than just, like, a random skin or horse armor, you know? Though, again, I think just putting DLC would be fine as well, because it avoids any, you know, it avoids that rare idea of where exactly are we putting the... Where are we putting the line? Like, where do we draw that? I didn't know they attacked you. Maybe they did, I just don't remember it, but like, huh. Don't mind me. Just fixing our perspective. He's probably Torrent. God damn it, Torrent. Okay, yeah, this I think is good. Yeah. God damn it, Torrent, your little horn. I think this looks good. There we go. Yeah, they use fire sprites. Cool, so this is how those look. But there's usually no DLC nomination on TGA, so they probably got scared that people would think they made up a nomination just for Elden DLC. Well, they ended up getting everyone mad because they had Elden Ring mixed in with other games, you know, and stuff that otherwise could have taken Elden Ring's spot. So, like, you're gonna lose either way. You may as well lose in the way that's better for the gamer. And it's better for the gamers if you're gonna do, again, I think award shows are all BS. Like, right, like, let's be honest, you know, a lot of money gets changed hands underneath. These things get sponsored, right? Like, these are mainly just an advertisement for different publishers' games, right? Like, I'm not trying to think that these things are, like, some high and mighty, honorable, like, you know, sacrosanct type of shows or anything, right? Though I will say this one was very good just for a lot of the games they were showing. Right. But my point is that if you are someone who is trying to avoid the most amount of controversy, I think you creating a separate category for for DLC and making it so that way every year you can help decide, like, what is the big new downloadable content, and it'll mostly go to favor expansion packs, right? But you're not going to specify it, so maybe if it's just horse armor that year, then you know what, horse armor wins. But I'm pretty sure with all the games that come out, there's at least a few that are a bit more, you know, story heavy or something. The shows are BS, but developers should get rewards for making great art. Yeah, which is why you don't see me, like, calling to ban them or anything, right? I think no one should put any huge stock where it's like, oh my god, my game won Game of the Year. Like I said, for me, back in 2023, I would say Coffin of Andy and Lily was my Game of the Year. It would even beat out Fires of Rubicon, even though I really love Fires of Rubicon. And if Fires of Rubicon won that year, I'd be okay with that too, right? Like, ultimately, it's all personal preference. Oh, does Moore sit in front of the Rao pods? I have no idea. Unfortunately, I skipped over that guy's questline. Well, they won the DLC nomination on Joystick Awards at least. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I think DLC needs to be its own separate category, and if they were afraid of pushback, I think that was silly. Also, where are my dragons, chat? Where are my comical dragons? How am I supposed to... How am I supposed to look at the jagged peak and not have my comically spinning dragons? The pot should stay there by the grace. Yeah, but he's not there, so I don't know if he sits in front of them or not. I actually don't know where Moore is because I never met him in this area. I have to imagine there's something in this pot if it's got weird sparkly stuff, right? Yeah, I ain't making out I ain't making out shit there. Alright. Nothing too crazy here. A few nice, like, you know, scenic shots, but otherwise... I still don't know. I still don't know what to think of these finger ruins, man. By the cross in front of Bellarat? Okay, I can look there then. Right here? Or... Oh, you mean this? Okay. I should be able to check myself. No, no, I can check now. I thought you were talking about here in the ruins up here. Here's what he, Yeah, I thought you were talking about some area here that he sets up shop in. Like, what's his face? The dry leaf guy who leaves a message and stuff. Woo! It's raining! No, we've already explored Bellarat. I don't need to look at it again. Yeah, it would make sense given that he's associated with some of the pests and stuff, but... We got the Church of Consolation. I forget what the Japanese name for this church is. I guess the idea is that they come all the... No, because the road's here. Yeah, there's two roads. Which is funny, because this is obviously not the original bridge they used, right? Like, this was something that was made for Castellensis and stuff, it looks like. Right? I remember this being a very different style of bridge. Also, wow, these trees get big, you know? I just realized. Yeah, this looks like standard bridge that we could see Mesmer's folks making. They've definitely taken it over. Yeah, it's pretty typical plain architecture. But we definitely have the roads that seem to be older than that. I guess my question would be, what was this road leading to before it led, you know, to here? More questline is so stupid. All I did is said to him, "Don't be sad," and he just disappeared and tried to kill me. Then what am I supposed to get out of this? Don't try to support depressed people. Yeah, I did not interact with his questline whatsoever. I have no idea if I made the wrong choice, the right choice, right? Like, I don't know what exactly I was supposed to do during that questline. I was not paying attention. But then again, if I genuinely don't interact with the questlines in these games too heavily. Like, I'll do them if they're there, right? You know, interact with patches is always a good, nice romp. But it's usually not my main focus. Yeah, the road does lead over here to something. To this waterfall. Also, if there's this giant waterfall here, who thought it was a good idea to put a church in here? You know? Oh, this seems ill-advised. The questions are great. I'm sure they are. It's just I don't generally interact with them, so I don't have a lot of opinions on them. Just casually tearing a heart out over there. Ah! I forget that we move. I guess this might be... This is moss. Yeah, this is moss. We got all our favorite gravestones over here. Yeah, so I'm assuming the reason they have the Sun Capital graves here, right, is because they need an explanation for why, if we're supposed to take the graveyard in front of Langdell as, like, all of the Morn Heroes clan, right, like, all the Sun Capital folk were all slaughtered, and then they were buried here for the Erd Tree, in front of the new city that was established of Langdell, then, where were the Sun Capital folk burying everyone? And I think Miyazaki was thinking, okay, with this DLC, we can have it be the catch-all term of why don't we see a lot of burials and stuff besides Erd Tree burials in the modern day? And the reason is because most burials were all happening here on this area, right? I guess you'll save them for the lore through? Yeah, probably. I would probably want to do all of them, you know, at once or whatever, right? Like, I still have never properly done, a Sigmire, quest line. Except maybe in the lore play for Dark Souls 1. I don't remember if we got to completing that one yet. But, like, I generally am not, I just generally don't, like, focus on them, and I can't recall how many I've actually completed. Maybe for the Bloodborne Let's Play, if you guys go back, maybe I completed some of those there, right, for the Let's Play there, but, like, I generally, like, it's just never been my focus with these games. I casually, you know, like I said, I was a casual fan, right? I was just a casual fan, just playing these games. I thought they were cool and nice. I didn't pay too much attention to the lore, but I was cool getting there, seeing some foreign conversations in the JP community and stuff. And then, like I said, going to that Reddit post in the English side, just on a whim, completely changed my life. It set me on this path, and I don't know how I feel about that anymore. Ay, ay, ay. It makes you wonder, before these castles and stuff there, were there villages or something that these roads from the Horn Scent were supposed to lead into? Alright, we're getting close to where I want to wrap things up for today, though, Chad. It's like, you know, it's been over 2 hours. I don't feel like I found anything too crazy, but I do feel like I'm expanding my knowledge, you know? The circle of knowledge is increasing. I don't know, I remember you finding texture bugs in Bloodborne. Oh, I love you, Bloodborne. I think we've been to most of the areas. I don't think there's anything else interesting I can say about the Karo's grave, right? Karo's grave, maybe? It's pronounced Charon, right? So, probably Karo's grave. Who's all downhill from there. Yeah. We can't say it was all downhill. For some reason, you guys want to buy my book, so... Clearly, I'm getting something out of this. Let's see. Anything at Jagged Peak I'm really curious about? Not really. We've already done a look at all the dragons and stuff. Yeah, people would bury their folks in the Deathbird land when they believed in them before the Erd Tree. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, right. And especially when you have this pillar and stuff. Like this suppression pillar or whatever. Right? It just makes more sense to me. Because we have all these areas, right? And it's very clear these are all part of, like, Godfrey's conquest or related things or whatever, right? Like, one thing I'm willing to recontextualize, right? Because, like, we see a graveyard at, Marika's village, right? And this would presumably be before the Erd Tree, right? I would presume. But then, in that case... I'm willing to say, like, the graveyard here at Dominula, right? This one over here. Where we have the death symbol here. This I'm willing to say, oh, maybe Dominula then always had a graveyard, right? Maybe Wraithblood Ruins, assuming that this town existed before, before America's Kingdom. Maybe this always had a graveyard, right? What's another good example? I'm a little less sold on Carians, because I don't think we see... Do we even see a Carian graveyard here? Like, actually, now that I think about it, do we even have, like, Carian graveyard in this area? We have the Catacombs, right? Yeah, I guess you could say Fogriff Catacombs holds that. It could serve that purpose. But, like, I don't see a regular, like... I don't think there's a regular graveyard in this area. There's also the Spirit Worms near the Finger Ruins, where you could say they also were buried or something. Maybe. I'd have to think about this one, because like I said, the Finger Ruins are just bizarre to me. They have... It's not clicked for me yet, where I can say, oh, this makes sense. It's much like the War with the Gods that's referenced here, that these Forge Ruins are apparently built on. Like, I don't know who made the Forge Ruins, what civilization they're connected to, what War with Gods are we talking about here? Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's a thing now. I do not recall anything in the base game that would lead me to believe that, you know? I forgot where that portal thing takes you. Yeah, I'm not finding any... I'm not seeing a graveyard or anything here. Wait, is there a graveyard behind the Carian Manor Carian or Erd Tree? The one at the Carian Manor, it does not use the coffin. It doesn't use a coffin cemetery, no. It uses a cliffside. It uses a cliffside cemetery. It uses standard graves that we see. But we do not see anything in the royal graveyard that makes it any different from what we see with Erd Tree Burial, right? But there is an argument to be made. If you have villages which have graveyards incidentally, then there's the possibility that them having, like, skeletons rising from them is also incidental to the Erd Tree just extending its roots, you know, right? That maybe this isn't a, there isn't a deeper meaning here about this being, like, specifically an Erd Tree graveyard. But I'm feeling very borderline on this one. Because with Kari and stuff, I don't think we see much in ways of graveyards outside of the astrologer's ruins here, and that could be just because the village was destroyed, right? Like, I don't think there's something in the base game that could give us a good time capsule on, oh, this may have definitely had a graveyard before for Kari and such astrologer stuff before Erd Tree was a thing. The only thing I can say is that the white meteorite is similar to the inside of the Divine Towers. Oh, is that so? So it's Carian's because it has the queen chess pieces on top of them. Oh, is there actually a difference here? You talking about these, Xavier? These are what you see at Cathedral of the Deep, by the way, these grave models. So I just want to clarify. Because these are supposed to be funerary urns that you see in the... You actually see at the tip here where you put ashes and stuff. Yeah. Huh. Comparing it to a queen's chess piece, huh? Well, now you got me curious. Where else do we see these graveyards? Oh, I don't remember if there's graveyards here. Oh, yeah, I don't remember if there are graveyards here, Jet. That might be my ticket to saying no, then. You also see the boxes. It reminds me of the Knight Helmet. I say, what do you mean by the boxes, Xavier? Clarify that for me? Are you talking about the coffin things that we see with, like, the wolves eating out of it and stuff? Well, they are here, and we know there's sorcerer skeletons that come out here, so... I'm not going to say it's impossible. We also get sorcerer skeletons here. At the academy graveyard. Ah, yeah. We also get like the little like coffin mausoleum things there. They are here. But I think they're also here. I'm trying to look at this to kind of disprove it, Xavier, but I will say it's so far been remarkably consistent. But again, that could just be because they're using a mix of different graves in a lot of these graveyards, and it's just coincidental. Anyway, gonna look. This one does not have any sorcerer skellies that wake up here, so I'm gonna say that's yeah, and you also see it here. Yeah, I think this is just them copy pasting the design. It's not too significant, but I wanna keep on trying to brute force that. Cause hey, you know, maybe they just didn't want to use the sorcerer's gravekeeper skeletons here, you know. I think there's a graveyard here. Yeah, I should check the graveyards that I have marked here. Oh, this is a good spot, because there's a small one here. Yeah, the Kari Knight helmet, you mentioned that, Xavier. The thing is that it's again, I'm trying to, like, look at it as from the idea of, oh, Miyazaki sees this, he has the same conclusion as you. Oh, it looks like the Kari Knight helmet. It looks like a Queen chest piece. So, nah, it's here, too. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I like that idea, but I'm not sure. I just can't, ooh, well, here it would definitely work, right? Yeah, I think it's just because of a mix of graves, honestly. I'll go now. Thanks for the stream. No problem, Saint Meme. Great to have you here. Like I said, we're gonna end things very shortly. Xavier's just got me on this little rabbit hole I gotta go down. Yeah, I think it's just for a mix of graves. I'll be honest. I think it's just that. It's found a lot, the most in Liurnier from what I see. Again, I think it might just be for variety's sake. I don't think it's like the flower top graves. Though again, I like that idea because of the flower top graves, you know, Xavier. Like, I'd really love this to be true. I'm just not so sure. Can I see them from up here? Yeah, they load. Yeah, they're just here. So I just assumed. I think it's a cool assumption. But like I said, I don't know if I can find it consistently enough that I want to go with it myself. I like this idea, though, so much. I want it to be true so bad. Alright, let's look here. We do have grave keepers here at least. Yeah, I don't know if we could separate that, and that's my only issue. I don't know if we could separate that from it just being one of the Cathedral of the Deep assets that got mixed with a bunch of other Dark Souls 3 assets for graves, and they just kind of threw them all together as like this combo, so you'd have a variety, and then they would use it there, right? That would be my biggest mark against this. Because unlike the flower top graves, where there is a bit of a consistency between whether it's flat top or the flower top or whatever, right? This one feels like super widespread in a lot of areas where I'm like, could it be possible that sorcerers have been killed here and were buried? Sure. Do I think it's like, oh my, well, this is huh. I think I found my first, like, real super big Elden Ring misstep here. That tree's not supposed to be like that. Also, burnt trees. But perfectly fine bushes again. Oh no, these bushes are not okay, you know? Well, I guess you could argue they're part of the trees, though, right? Yeah, they more dead here. A lot more dead when we're near the water. Maybe it's just the box mausoleum things, then? Yeah, that I think has a stronger argument, just because, like, there's the actual, like, you know, witch icon there. Though, again, as I've said before, I am actually skeptical of that being relevant. I actually think it's just that they, again, I think it's just for variety's sake. But again, I'm willing. I think I'm more willing to believe I'm wrong there with what you said with the coffin cemeteries than I am with this. Though again, I think this is super cool as an idea. So I'm gonna keep it in mind and see if anyone's able to like bring this all around into the history or something in the future. Right? Like if we ever get a big thing where someone has a big story of life that somehow involves the sorcerers or whatever, I could see myself coming back to this and being like, oh, you know, Xavier mentioned that. That's a good idea. Do you find jellyfish alongside them a lot? No. I think the jellyfish are I don't think there's a huge overlap where you see these specific graves and jellyfish, no. I think there's a huge overlap with jellyfish in these graves in general. Because like I said, I think there's just, hey, we have this collection of Dark Souls 3 graves that we all throw together for this. Alright, yeah. Yeah, I think this is just a mix of generic graves that they use whenever they want something that isn't that, you know, I think the point of cliffside graveyards, coffin cemeteries, this random assortment of graves, and even when they do use flat top and flower top graves, even though I think the flower top and flat top ones specifically have a certain significance to them that is consistent with the history that we see independent of them, I think the problem is with I think the problem is that these are mainly chosen for sake of variety, or in the case of the cliffside graveyards, gameplay purposes. So if they're like, oh, we need a graveyard for the Dominula area, right? Well, we also want to create an area that you can traverse here, so how about we just create a cliffside graveyard into the, you know, for this specific spot. Okay, sure, that'll cover it then, right? And then they do the same thing with, what's it called over here, right? Where you have a cliffside graveyard here for this forest woodfolk ruins, right? It's used in Langdale for the Fireblood or Clive Fae, which I think is the only place it's used in Langdale. You mean this one here? That makes sense to me. I can see it. What about here, though? Oh, this is gonna be all buried, though, now. I think I have to get on my other character. 1 second. Yeah. Yeah. This is all buried now. Also, someone closed the doors. It is surreal that you can go all the way up here now, right? You know more about the graves than me, that's for sure. Yeah, but you know more about the flowers than me, and that's for sure, Xavier, so it balances out, right? Just, I've been looking very closely at the graves and how they're being used, right? And like I said, the only thing I'd want to change is I'm more willing to say that if there's just a graveyard by a town by itself, I do not want to I don't necessarily want to consider the idea that there's been some battle or Erdtree influence or conflict there. It could be something that predates it, right? I'm more open to that idea now. But again, it's super hard to tell because, like, we have a lot of examples of Erdtree burial overlapping in those cases as well, so. Alright, I want to check here, because this is the area with the graveyard. And then I'm done. This is chanting is perfect for Elden Ring. I have to say, well, thanks. And, you know, just kind of found it while we were, right before I got the stream ready. I was like, oh, this is a cool little new channel that was coming out with this. This is nice. I like this as a background little thing. Underground roadside. Avenue balcony, I think, is it, right? I always get mixed up with all the Langdale graces because, you know, there's the layers to them. Yeah, this'll work. Oh my god. No, yeah, they do not use them here. These are the flower tops. But they don't use them here. Oh my god. I can't click anything without my character doing stuff. So I think that's a good, I think that's at least a good point in favor of it. Because if I saw it here, I would have been like, nah, I don't believe this thing has any possibility of, you know, it doesn't have any legs, in my opinion. But no, if it's not here, then I think, Xavier, you might be able to make it work. At the very least, with the idea that maybe magic users died and were done here, right? And not, like, you know, not incantation, you know, like, non-incantation magic users, right? I think you could make that case, possibly. I don't know if it's likely. I'm not sure if I'm willing to buy it myself, but I could definitely be like, okay, I'm willing to consider this. Alright, what about you? What do we got here? Yeah, you don't see him here either. Oh, wait. Am I crazy? No, that's just a sword. That's not the grave. Okay, yeah, they're not here either. So again, unless there's a, now obviously they want to use the flat top graves there for the storytelling device, but I don't know. You could make a case. I'm seeing the potential. I think it's by the wizard tower at Altus where you have the worm face crying to a Mikola lily. A Mikola lily. Oh, that does track then if it's specifically there, right? You don't have any of the sorcerer types here. Like they don't have any gravekeeper sides that I'm seeing. Oh no, we do have a few. We do have a few. I don't know, Xavier. You know, the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm like, you know, it might be plausible. Now again, there's always the argument that because it's used with a mix of graves every time, like this, that again, it's still not intentional. It just happens to overlap where it's like, of course, if like, you know, 60% of the graveyards use this generic mix of graves here, then of course there's going to be a huge overlap with the sorcerers, right? So I can totally see that just being a coincidence. But I'm now more open to this than I was when you first mentioned it. Might be a loose connection. Yeah. Like I'm not totally turned off by this idea. You do have it here, at least. Okay, that's gonna be a cool thing to think about now. That even if it's not, like, specifically, like, you know, chess piece, Karian, or whatever, because we also keep in mind, besides you mentioning that chess piece angle to it, Xavier, and again, there's the version that doesn't have this, so maybe, again, this could all be a coincidence. But, like, when you see these, they have the image of, like, a holy person in, like, prayer or whatever, but we see the witch statues and stuff, and we've seen how some of the holy... Like, we see a high priestess statue from, Lothric be reused to represent, you know, like, Renala and Karya and stuff at, the Church of the Vows. So, like, I could see, even if it doesn't have this on it, if it's just, this with the hooded person with the clasped hands and stuff, I could be willing to say, like, maybe that's just supposed to be indicative of sorcerers and stuff. You know? I think it's an interesting idea. Alright, but like I said, we really need to be wrapping things up here. So, again, thanks you guys for, you know, guiding me, you know, giving me some good ideas to chat about, you know, helping me pass the time, whatever. Again, I like when I'm tired and stuff to just kind of casually come onto this game and kind of just, you know, look around, see if anything strikes me. Feel very peaceful today, so I appreciate y'all. But, you know, I now need to go sleep, so bye-bye.